Hi, you're watching WION World is One News. I'm Sana Khan. Let's get you all the big stories from South Asia and across the world. Let's take a look at the headlines first. An isolated Pakistan scuttles India-sponsored proposal on setting up of a working group on counter-terrorism at the NAM summit. India steps up its Baloch outreach program. National broadcaster launches a multimedia website and mobile app for Balochi audiences. Body of a teenager found in Harwan area in Jammu and Kashmir threatens to further stoke anger in the valley even as curfew continues for over 70 days. Prime Minister Narendra Modi on a two-day visit to his home state Gujarat, Dalit activist held by state police on Friday. Major political drama in India's capital. Lieutenant Governor Najib Jung summons Delhi's Deputy Chief Minister, while Aam Aadmi Party claims the LG refused to meet them. And first Barack Obama, now Michelle Obama backs Democratic presidential nominee Hillary Clinton, takes a dig on Donald Trump, says US presidential election campaign is not a reality show. The Lieutenant Governor of New Delhi, Najib Jung, on Saturday asked Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia to return to Delhi immediately. Sisodia is currently in Finland. He's on a study tour. The Deputy Chief Minister has been asked to come back to Delhi immediately as the city is witnessing a spurt in dengue and chikungunya cases. The opposition has alleged that Sisodia is holidaying in Finland. The minister, though, responded by taking to Twitter, saying that learning from across the world was not a sin. And a fresh face-off has broken out between the Indian government and the ruling party in New Delhi, the Aam Aadmi Party. A central committee now alleges that the Aam Aadmi Party violated some of the guidelines issued by the Supreme Court last year on regulating the content of government advertising. The committee says the Delhi government used the Exchequer's funds to promote Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal and his party and asked the Aam Aadmi Party to reimburse the state for the ads. It found there had been violations in categories like outstation advertisements, false and misleading ones, and on self-glorification. The 17-page conclusions of the committee have now been sent to top figures in the Delhi government. Tracking other news, Pakistan has scuttled an India-sponsored proposal on setting up of a working group on counter-terrorism at the 17th NAM summit being held in Venezuela. According to reports, as Indian diplomats strove to set up a working group on terrorism in Venezuela, their Pakistani counterparts were alone in speaking out against it and even opposed the consensus that had built around the proposal. The proposal by India, whose ministerial delegation is being led by Minister of State for External Affairs MJ Akbar, gathered a lot of steam following the minister's strong pitch against terrorism at the ministerial segment. Interestingly, there's no meeting so far between MJ Akbar and Pakistan's advisor on foreign affairs Sartaj Aziz, who's also in Venezuela for the summit. And politics turned a full circle in the state of Arunachal Pradesh on Friday when 43 of the 44 Congress MLAs, including Chief Minister Pema Khandu, joined the People's Party of Arunachal, or the PPA, a part of the Northeast Democratic Alliance. That's a BJP-led front. Just 2 months ago, Mr. Khandu and his group of Congress rebels had deserted the PPA and returned to the Congress to form the government. Mr. Khandu became the Chief Minister in July, then replacing Nabam Tuki, who in turn had replaced Kaliko Pul after the Supreme Court reinstated the Nabam Tuki government. In a House of 60, the Congress had 44 MLAs, with one seat falling vacant after former Chief Minister Kaliko Pul committed suicide earlier in August, while the BJP has 11 members, including 2 independents.
कांग्रेस 40+ MLA, हम बीजेपी 11 MLA, तो इसमें क्या मुकाबला हो सकता है? तो हमारा ना दिशा दे सकता है, मैं उधर बीजेपी दे सकता है, ना कांग्रेस ले सकता है. तो they have decided from their own. आज तुकी साहब फॉर्मर सीएम को छोड़ के सारा का सारा पीपीए में चला गया, तो कांग्रेस का नेता और अपना लोगों को एनालाइज करना चाहिए कांग्रेस का कहाँ कमी हुआ?
Well, the merger is illegal. If you peruse the judgment of the Punjab and Haryana High Court in the matter of the Janhit Congress, the Punjab and Haryana High Court had held that merger to be illegal and akin to defection. And to the best of my knowledge, that judgment has still not been challenged.
Arunachal is a murder of democracy, as this new CM or the outgoing CM said that BJP government was not giving them money. They had no option but to form a private, a separate fund. This is nothing but clear blackmail. Government of India is using public money to forward the cause of the BJP. What can be a more corrupt, more dishonest, more undemocratic practice like this?
And the Indian Navy Chief Admiral Sunil Lamba has said that the preliminary investigations into the French Scorpion submarine's data leaks reveal that secrets were spilled at naval contractor DCNS's end. Details of the Scorpion submarine were published in the Australian newspaper in August, triggering concerns. The leak contained more than 22,000 pages outlining the details of 6 submarines that DCNS had designed for the Indian Navy. Lamba said a high-level committee probing the Scorpion leaks will suggest if any mitigation measures were required. The pellet-ridden body of a teenager was found in Srinagar in the state of Jammu and Kashmir on Friday after fresh clashes broke out between protesters and security forces in the Harwan district. With this, the toll in the ongoing crisis in the valley is now up to 86. Nasir Shafi, a Class 7 student, was killed in the ongoing violent protests that have continued for over 2 months. Curfew-like restrictions were extended to Harwan and Srinagar city and neighbouring areas to prevent any clashes. Curfew continued in 5 police station areas. The authorities are struggling to contain the worst unrest Kashmir has seen in 6 years. And Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, he turned 66 on Saturday. He's on a 2-day visit to his home state of Gujarat on the occasion. When he reached there, he was accorded with a warm welcome by the state government and his party workers as he touched down in Ahmedabad. Meanwhile, he will continue to stay in the state of Gujarat for 2 days. A website and a mobile app has been launched by All India Radio for its Baloch service to reach people who speak the language across the globe. A 1-hour-long Balochi program will now air every day, and the website and mobile app is expected to gain a global audience amongst Balochi-speaking people. The move coming after Prime Minister Modi's Independence Day speech, where he accused Pakistan of committing atrocities on people in Balochistan. All right, staying with South Asia, Pakistani Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif visited Pakistan-controlled Kashmir before heading to the United Nations General Assembly meeting in New York. Sharif met Hurriyat leaders and Pakistan-controlled Kashmir leaders separately. He's also planning to raise the Kashmir issue at the UN meeting after working with Hurriyat leaders on the content of his upcoming speech at the General Assembly. Pakistan-controlled Kashmir Prime Minister Raja Farooq has welcomed the decision. He says that it will send a positive message across the line of control between India and Pakistan.
On the sideline, he will be meeting the world leaders and highlighting the fact that how the world community is not responding to the human rights cause of the Kashmiri people. We don't expect UN to resolve Kashmir issue overnight, but it's part of the lobbying. What we expect from UN is to continue to put pressure on India. So it's part of that campaign, and he has been successful in putting the Indian government on the back foot. This is why the Indians are not getting any response to equate what they are trying to equate Balochistan with Kashmir situation.
And a group of unidentified anti-Russia protesters attacked Moscow's embassy in Kiev. According to the Ukrainian news agencies, the demonstration was organized by 15 masked men who were holding anti-Russia placards. The protesters launched firecrackers at the embassy. According to a local report, the protesters were protesting against Ukraine's plan to open 4 polling stations for Russian citizens wanting to cast their vote for upcoming elections in Russia for the first time. Polls will also be held in Crimea, which was annexed from Ukraine by Moscow in 2014. And the civil war has pushed people to flee South Sudan since July, sending the number of refugees from the war-torn nation to over 1 million, according to the United Nations. Another 1.61 million people are displaced within the country. Here's a look at the current crisis in the world's newest nation.
After 2 decades of war and a process of self-determination that began in 2005, the southern part of Sudan became independent in July 2011. The new state was called South Sudan and its capital city located in Juba. Khartoum, the capital of the Republic of Sudan, immediately recognised the legitimacy of its new neighbour. But in December 2013, the world's newest country plunged into civil war after President Salva Kiir accused his former Vice President Riek Machar of planning a coup. It set off a cycle of retaliatory killings that have split the poverty-stricken landlocked country along ethnic lines, with the Dinka supporting Kiir and the Nuer tribes supporting Machar. Both sides signed a peace deal in August 2015, although fighting continued. In February 2016, Kiir reappointed Machar as vice president, prompting Machar's return to the capital 2 months later to form a unity government. But his return failed to halt the conflict, and he was replaced in July amid fresh clashes in the capital. The impact of the civil war on the country has been catastrophic. Tens of thousands of people have been killed, more than 2.5 million have been forced from their homes, and nearly 5 million out of the country's 11 million inhabitants need emergency food aid.
All right, over to Iraq now, where thousands of supporters of populist Iraqi cleric Muqtada al-Sadr demonstrated at the Tahrir Square in central Baghdad. The Iraqi government is mired in corruption and struggling to provide basic services to its citizens. The demonstration was largely peaceful, with security checks and police forces deployed in smaller numbers than on previous occasions. All right, with that, it's a wrap. We're taking a short break, but you can track all of our top stories on the social, digital and mobile media platforms. This is me, Sana Khan. Thanks so much for tuning in.